Welcome to the Richard Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Idris Salam, aka Bosco from the Bronx. It's a college football Saturday, and that's what we do today on Saturday. We bring it to you. College football week 9. It's starting to get thick now. Them top teams got to do their thing. Got top 5 undefeated teams. We got a bunch of 7-1 teams knocking on the door. Top 5 got shaken up a bit. New additions to the top 10. Don't forget that bottom 11 to 15. They're there also. Some teams went up. Some teams went down. Some don't know what they're doing. They're going side to side, banging their heads. And you have those who are just being treated dead wrong. Shiloh Sanders. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But first, we got to talk about the number 1 team in the nation. Where they're from? Columbus. The Ohio State Buckeyes, number 1 in the nation, looking like they looked back when the Vets was in charge, when they had Maurice Clarett. They're trying to get another national championship. They got quite a few. Going back to Woody Hayes. But how did they get to number 1? Can't blame the team. They're out there to play football. Marvin Harrison Jr., Heisman Trophy candidate, will he win it? No, not because he's not good enough, but because the Heisman Trophy is not award given to anyone besides a quarterback. Well, that's the way it seems. Once in a while, they give it to someone else. But do you really think they're going to give it to Marvin Harrison Jr.? I doubt it. But anyway, the Ohio State Buckeyes, number 1 in the nation, handling their business. I don't know why the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs are number 2. All they are the 2-time national champions. They were the preseason number 1. They are beating everybody in their way. They just come off a victory this past weekend, a big victory at Florida. How do you make them the number 2 team in the nation? They didn't do anything to show otherwise. You beat a conference rival on the road. You blast them out the water, and they're supposed to be good. Georgia demolished them. They hadn't lost a game in how long? Right. How do you punish the number 2 team, actually the number 1 team, and make him number 2? My opinion, I think the pollsters are just tired, which is still unfair. Be tired, but you can't punish these kids for winning, just like with number 1 Ohio State. But we got to talk about this situation right here. The Michigan Wolverines. Ooh, you're in trouble. Under investigation for sign stealing. I mean, I'm pretty sure every team steals signs of some sort. But the way I see it, if you're on the sideline and you're in charge to scout the other team, pardon me for stuttering, you're in charge for scouting the other team, you need to find out what you can. It's not like someone standing on this sideline saying, hey, however they do. No, it's not doing that. If you think someone's stealing your signs, change it up. Now, Bowling Green is saying, oh, we don't know who did it, and we don't know the sign. Now they don't know anything. But y'all making a big deal about it a couple of weeks ago. I, myself, and I don't make the rules, I don't see a problem with you stealing someone's signs. If you can figure out what they're doing, you use it to your advantage. Point blank, period. But I think this is more than just sign stealing. I think this is a Jim Harbaugh thing. Now, I am not a Michigan Wolverine fan, but I just think they don't like him. College football doesn't like him. The NFL didn't like him. And it's always been, let's get this guy, But he's doing his job. He's winning football games. I don't think he has a dirty program. Let the man do his job. You don't have to be loved to be great. There's a lot of people who are great that people couldn't stand. Now, Ohio State and Michigan, number 1 and number 3, have a date with each other. So someone's got to go down. How far they go down, we don't know, but we'll find out when they play. But we'll get to that later. At number 4, we have the Florida State Seminoles looking good. Looking like the Bowden teams and the Jimbo Fisher teams. Who would have thought that? So many years they kept saying, here comes Florida State, just for them to take a nosedive. But they're coming off a big victory at Wake Forest last week. like I said, looking like the powerhouse of Bowden and Fisher. They pack a potent offense, 285 yards passing, 167 yards passing, rushing. I'm sorry. That's a lot right there. And they have a good defense, only allowing 18.3 points a game, 19th in the nation. Not bad. Stop a lot of offenses. But they better stay on their game because there's someone lurking. Number 13, Louisville. The Cardinals are coming, and they look good. Looking like the old Bobby Petrino game teams with Lamar Jackson. The two may not be on schedule to face each other, in the regular season. But if they stay on the path they're going, they may see each other in the ACC championship. And on paper, these two teams are evenly matched. You better think about that. A new entry to the top 5. Welcome, Washington Huskies. The boys up in Washington balling out. They knocked off Oregon. They got a tough one this weekend with USC. Michael Penix Jr., Heisman Trophy candidate, 2,945 yards passing, 24 touchdowns with an 83.1 QBR. That'll take you a long way. But they need to run the ball more. They are ranked 119th in the nation in rushing. That's not good. Going up against going against a Michigan or Ohio State or Florida State. Any of those teams, they're fast. So you got to be able to run the ball. Like I said, they go to the Coliseum to play number 20 USC this weekend. Caleb Williams, and he's looking to get back into the Heisman race because he says not look that well. I felt he was overrated because I hadn't seen him really put up numbers against a real good team. But this is his chance. Washington has a ways to go, though. At USC, they have to play Oregon State. They got Washington State. They got Utah. So it's not easy. But Michael Penix Jr., I got faith in you, brother. You can do it. Rounding out the top 10, we got Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. Oregon lost to Washington. They're close, real good game. So they're sitting there, number 6 ready to knock on the door to get back in the top 5. They need a loss by Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, whichever one, Florida State, Washington. They need a loss just to get back in it. Texas, same thing, knocking on the door. They didn't have a bad loss versus Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, but they got to keep winning. Alabama, Nick Saban, this is what they do every year. They lose a game, then they come knocking again. That's what the Tide does, Oklahoma, tough loss as well. Pretty bad loss, actually. But we'll see what happens. Now, Ole Miss is the big surprise at number 10. By the way, all those 5 teams are 7-1. I'm kind of surprised they're there. I'm not surprised they're ranked there by the posters. I'm surprised they are that good this late in the year. Playing a good season. I got to give them boys on Oxford some props. They're doing a thing. Big respect to them. Keep doing what y'all do. At this point in the season, a loss by any one of the teams, especially the bottom 5, may spell doom for any playoff chances. At number 11, you have Penn State with a 7-1 record, as well as number 12, Missouri, the Tigers, which is another surprise that they're this good this late. And number 13, Louisville. Like I said, they got a date with Florida State in the ACC championship if these two teams keep going. But Louisville's going to have a lot to say when it comes to the playoffs. Missouri hosts Texas A&M this weekend. Then they have a big date with the Georgia Bulldogs at Athens, which could decide a whole lot. Now, A&M could be a trap game for them. The Aggies have pulled off some upsets over the last few years. Remember Alabama? They got game. Speaking of Alabama, they host number 14 LSU, my LSU Tigers. But a loss by them, I'm speaking on the Tide, is done. Forget about the playoffs. And still, even if by some stroke of luck, and I say luck because we beat them last year, just so happen they beat the Tigers, they still have to travel to Kentucky. Now, Kentucky is not the team they were at the beginning of the season, but they're going to Lexington. Who knows what they'll be down there. Now, they do have Tennessee Chattanooga. They should run 70 on them. And but after that, they got the Iron Bowl, versus Auburn. We know what happened that one year. The field goal, the run back. I hate to say, Tide fans, Alabama fans, Crimson Tide fans, it's over for y'all. This is it. Speaking of Michigan, not only do they have to face Ohio State, they have to go to Happy Valley and play Penn State. Not going to be an easy game. A win by Penn State could vault the Nittany Lions into the top 10, depending on how the rest of the top 10 fares. Now, a loss by Michigan may not be that fatal, but you don't want to have a loss and you have to play Ohio State. Yes, the game is in Ann Arbor, but Ohio State could run the table and go to Ann Arbor undefeated. Michigan does not want to face Ohio State with a loss, because if they lose to Ohio State, it's over. And that's just to be honest with you. I am not a Michigan fan. As I stated, I'm an LSU fan. But every win this point, every win going forward counts. But there is a subject I want to speak about. Shiloh Sanders and the hit on the UCLA player. I think they need to let these kids play. Let them do what they do. If the hit is dirty, okay, call it. But the hit by Shiloh was not dirty. It may have been high. It may have been violent, but it wasn't dirty. It looked shoulder to shoulder to me. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But I didn't see head to head. I didn't see the shoulder hitting the head, the helmet. I saw it hitting about right in this area. So, and I think this is a problem we have not only in college football, but we have it in the NFL. And we have, no, I'm not going to say we, they have the capabilities of reviewing, which they do. I'm not understanding why they can't get it right. You know, I understand the hit is violent. It's a violent sport, controlled violence. But it was not dirty. Not only does this slow down the game, it also makes the game not worth watching, because you start to wonder, okay, what's going on here? Calls like this could be the difference between a team succeeding and failing. A coach keeping his job and a coach being fired. A player staying on the field and a player sitting in the locker room wondering, what the hell happened? I don't understand this stuff. When I think about it, it just reminds me of sports betting. Are they doing this because of the betting in Vegas? Colorado lost the opportunity to win that game. Yes, they could have done things prior, but the officials should not decide any game in any league at any time. That's just my opinion. Thank you for tuning in to the Richard Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It's been the college football preview. It's been a short one, but we got to the point. But good luck to your teams. Have a happy Saturday, and go Tigers.